15 million members, empowered to learn, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Good afternoon. It is the 8th of July, 2022. We do come to you live from the Broadcasting House here at the heart of Nairobi City. But we are also live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. I am Nissy. Imano, thank you for making time for us. Now, we want to begin in Movenpick Hotel, where our team is there on the ground covering the farewell to the second term governors and deputy governors that is currently ongoing at the Movenpick. Let's listen in to His Excellency James Ongwae, who is currently speaking.
As that's going for Member of Parliament, we wish you the best. For the first time governors, I take this opportunity to wish you great success in your re-elections. May God bless all of you. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, DG. You didn't tell us what you intend to do, but we also wish you well in your journeys. It's now, ladies and gentlemen, my distinct honor and pleasure to invite somebody who has been close to devolution, and you all must agree that he is the best cabinet secretary that we have had in charge of devolution.
Meeting of the Council of Governors that is going on at the Movenpick Hotel, the farewell to the second term governors and deputy governors. We will be bringing you a comprehensive report on that a little bit later in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, Chief Justice Martha Koome has called for urgent action by all relevant authorities to end rampant labor trafficking that the CJ equated to slavery. Speaking during the launch of the Kenya Judicial Bench Book on labor trafficking of persons by the International Association of Women Judges, Kenya chapter, the Chief Justice said the book was going to be incorporated in the judicial system to help end the growing vice.
It's another feather added to the cap of the judicial system in Kenya after it launched the Kenya Judicial Bench Book on labor trafficking in an effort to put an end to labor trafficking. Chief Justice Martha Koome, while commending the International Association of Women Judges, Kenya chapter, for seeing the idea to fruition, said this is going to expedite the many cases of vulnerable persons who have fallen victim to the global vice.
This bench book, which we are launching this morning, has shown great sensitivity to the abused women, children, and other vulnerable persons whose suffering we should never lose sight of.
Quoting the rampant cases of persons going to the Middle East to seek work and returning in coffins with no justice to their families, Koome says the Victim Approach book will help the judicial system navigate the complex web that has been tough to solve.
Our people who are trafficked, especially to the Middle East, to better their lives, but many of them end up coming back as cargo in coffins, and others having to bear lifelong evidence of violation.
The International Association Women Judges Kenya Chapter President Justice Agnes Murgor reiterated her sentiments, saying previously the system has been blocked with corruption, inadequate evidence and lack of cooperation, making it hard for the victims to find justice. The Kenya Judicial Bench Book on Labour Trafficking is a breath of fresh air in efforts to nip human trafficking at the bud. Serafina Robi for Lunchtime News.
All right, we are taking you back to Movenpick, the earlier story that I had shared on the Council of Governors farewell that is currently ongoing. Let's take a listen.
Indeed, as the COG motto goes, we might be 48 governments, but we remain one united, indivisible nation called Kenya. And there are no Kenyans who belong to the national government, Kenyans who belong to the county governments. We serve the same Kenyans. And that is why in the spirit of Article 6 of our Constitution, we must continue working together in consultation, in collaboration, to be able to resolve challenges that face our great nation, to transform our counties and to transform our country together. And we have seen this happen over the 10 years. We have seen great challenges face us, whether it's climate change, whether it is the COVID-19 pandemic. We came together. We worked together seamlessly as one nation to confront a very invisible enemy who came from far away beyond our borders, and that really faced us and challenged our progress, but we overcame this crisis. So today we want to celebrate you and thank you for your contribution. But also we want to say that the journey is not complete. For those who are serving their first term, we want to wish you well. We hope you win these elections, but even if you don't, you will still be a valued member of the Devolution family. We intend to see how we can manage the transition, because after 10 years of devolution, we are going through a transition. The first generation, the pioneer governors who laid the foundation for devolution in our country with our President Uhuru Kenyatta, will have almost a new crop of governors coming in. And that is why, as we meet here today, we want to thank our development partners and to say that we need to prepare for that transition so that we work together with the new crop of governors who will be coming in. We might need a proper induction because we might have almost 35 or 40 new governors. So we must look ahead as we look at the 10-year journey of devolution. We must project the 10-year journey ahead of us of devolution. And as national government, we are in the process of reviewing our devolution policy. It is a participatory process. We will be coming to you, pioneer governors who are living, even as we shape that devolution policy for the next 10 years. Your contribution will be invaluable, and we still hope you will be with us to chart the journey ahead for the new generation of governors who are coming in, so that we can plan 10 years to come. We also must look at the greatest challenges facing us, and one of those is climate change. It is an existential threat facing our country. We want to salute those counties. And as we went to the devolution conference in Makueni, I think we had 39 that had already passed legislation to do with climate change. Those who have set up climate change funds, we must congratulate you. I heard from CAF that the number has gone up to 44, but we want to urge those who have not to ensure that we prioritize the issues of setting up our climate change funds and the necessary.
All right, currently speaking is the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Devolution, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, who's speaking at the COG farewell that is currently ongoing at the Movenpick. Moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has declared Monday, July 11th, a public holiday to mark Eid-ul-Adha. Eid-ul-Adha is the second and biggest of the two main holidays celebrated in Islam, the other being Eid-ul-Fitr.
As Muslim faithfuls across the globe prepare to celebrate Eid, the government has declared Monday, 11th July 2022, a public holiday to mark Eid-ul-Adha. Eid-ul-Adha simply translates to holiday of the sacrifice and is the second and biggest of the two main holidays celebrated in Islam, the other being Eid-ul-Fitr. The holiday honors the willingness of Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail as an act of obedience to Allah's command. The tradition for Eid-ul-Adha involves slaughtering an animal and sharing the meat in 3 equal parts for family, relatives, friends, and for the poor people.
Moving on, squatters at Chepchoina settlement in Trans Nzoia and West Pokot County want to file a case against the government of Kenya with the International Criminal Court over what they claim is inhumane and unlawful eviction from their land. More than 800 families reside at Kaboto at the Phase 2 scheme were evicted last year to allow vetting of the squatters who benefited from that land.
Speaking in Kitale town after the application seeking to have them return to their land at Kitale was revoked, human rights activist Wilfred Ogutu said they have resolved to take the government to ICC for abdicating its duties to resettle them and infringing on their basic human rights. The group has petitioned for the Environment and Lands Court in Kitale over what they claim is inhuman and unlawful eviction.
Wakati Moi alipeana 94 mpaka 97, alikumbuka kuna watu wenye walikuwa wanafanya ADC. Ile haja kubwa ilikuwa ni watu wale maskini kama Wapokot, Turkana, Marakwet, wale wanapigana. Ndio iwe eneo ya amani kuweka watu pamoja.
The squatters who are now living in camps along the scheme say they lack basic needs and are often harassed by security officers in the area.
Hii serikali tumelia kila mara kuambia hawa saidia sisi wanyonge, lakini tumeona hakuna usaidizi. Tukikuja kotini tunapuchwa nje, tukienda wapi tunapuchwa nje. Je, mtu kama mimi msee namna hii naweza ongea uongo?
This comes as leaders from the region led by Kapenguria MP Samuel Moroto accuse some government officials of land grabbing, calling on the Land Cabinet Secretary Farida Karone to intervene and resettle the squatters. Documents at Kitale High Court revealed that their application to have them back to the disputed land did not meet the threshold since there is an active case in court that will be heard on the 23rd of July. For Lunchtime News, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Crossing over to Busia County now, where communities have been urged to maintain peace and harmony as the country prepares for the August general election. Busia Deputy County Commissioner Kipchumbo Ruto, who led a peace walk in Busia County streets, urged all leaders to promote the peace initiative and not to misuse the youth in this period. Stakeholders from the non-governmental organizations stressed the significance of peace during such a time and appealed to attendees to preach the message of peace and amity in their respective counties.
Ani kabla, wakati na baadaye uchaguzi. Sisi ni watoto wa Adamu na Eve. Na election is not a matter of life and death. Lazima tupige uchaguzi kulingana na mujibu na matakwa ya katiba.
Vijana wasitumike wakati huu vibaya, vijana wadumishe amani, na wale viongozi ambayo wanataka kuchaguliwa pia tunawahimiza wadumishe amani ili kura ziwe za amani na watu wajitokeze wapige kura kuchagua viongozi wao.
Sisi tunatembea siku ya leo kuhimiza amani. Tunaomba amani, kila mtu awe na amani. Wakati wa kupiga kura ukifika tuwe na amani. Kwa ajili mwenye tutachagua atakuwa wetu, mshindi atakuwa wetu, mwenye atashindwa atakuwa wetu.
Meanwhile, a German conservationist residing in Malindi is protesting poor waste management in the resort town, terming it an eyesore that is lowering the status of the town. Pirelli, who owns the El Magiro Conservation Center in Mere, has called for a total ban on plastic straws and plastic bottles in the area. She also wants the national county governments to enact laws that would prohibit reckless dumping of waste.
It's up to the people. We have to learn to stop this, and the only way to stop it fast is to make a law that it is not allowed to throw things on the floor anymore. You are grown-ups, and teach your children better, and the schools teach the children. There's a lot of changes we can do. I am fed up. I am fed up of every day I'm falling down, I'm sliding, karatasi tupo, careless, somebody is opening something, you just take it, you throw it, you use it one time. When are we going to ban this kind of things? Why are we using straws? Nonsense. And then you just use it and you throw it away. That's bad.
Laikipia County government has begun to distribute checks worth over 35 million shillings for bursaries to vulnerable learners. The bursary kitty will be shared in all the 15 wards in the county on need and population basis. Governor Nderitu Muriithi, who issued the checks, noted that over the past 5 years, the county has distributed over 180 million shillings to 39,000 learners. Speaking during an event held in Olmoran Ward, Governor Nderitu Muriithi noted that many parents were unable to raise the school fees, and therefore bursaries will assist the needy students resume to school next week. He further said that in an effort to improve learning at the nursery level, the county has employed 500 teachers.
Hapa katika vocational training center yetu ambapo tuko leo hapa katika mji wa Sipili, tumelete cheki za milioni 2,148. Pia watoto watatu wamepata full scholarship, yani tunasomesha kutoka form 1 mpaka form 4. Katika miaka 4 tumeweza kudistribute bursary ujumla wa milioni 180. 180 million has gone towards bursary. Na tumeweza kupeana every year except ile mwaka shule zilikuwa zimefungwa kwa sababu ya mambo ya COVID.
Elsewhere, Kiambu County residents have hailed a political shift from the Kenya Kwanza Alliance to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, as the area was believed to be the backyard of United Democratic Alliance previously. Addressing the press after Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance rally in Wangige, Kiambu County, the electorate said that there is a paradigm shift in the region that was previously believed to be United Democratic Alliance zone. They also praised the Azimio Oka manifesto, saying they have outlined their needs and they are optimistic that they will bring change if they win the August 9th general elections.
Wakati siasa ilipoanza, chama cha UDA ilikuwa imeonekana imeshika kazi sana. Vile baba ameanza kupanda mlima, inaonekana kuna mambo imeanza kubadilika kidogo.
Wenye kuangalia mambo yao itakuwa ni baba na mama. Kutakuwa na mabadiliko.
Ambia watu wote wachague watu wa Jubilee kwa sababu mkubwa wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta amesema tufuate njia hiyo.
And a group of police officers from Central Police Station, in collaboration with the Kenya Olympic participants, this morning held a peaceful walk within the CBD of Nairobi City. According to the security officers, the procession is geared to embrace peace during the election period among Kenyans. Nairobi Central Region OCPD David Mburukwa urged Kenyans to vote peacefully in the August polls to avoid post-election violence. Sentiments echoed by a section of Kenyans who are calling for peaceful polls, saying a more stable country is a pillar to stronger economy.
Okay. Nikiwa hivi. Yes, sisi tunataka amani na tunahubiri amani. Tulianza asubuhi kitu saa 3, tumesunguka CBD yote. Tukiambia wananchi tunataka amani, tunahubiri amani, tunataka hata wakati wa election kuwe na amani.
This is an initiative which is being carried out throughout the country. Of course, we have our partners, Special Olympic. These are the people who originated this idea. And in every election cycle, where there is violence, we are at the core, we are at the front line. So we are asking members of public to observe peace.
Moving on, Zoya security team has summoned 5 candidates, among them MCA candidates, for interrogations over hate speech leaflets circulated in the area. The 5 are alleged to be fueling animosity in Cherangani constituency as political campaigns gain momentum.
As the political campaigns gains momentum, the security apparatus in Trans Nzoia are concerned over conduct of some leaders in the region. Speaking at a public baraza, Cherangani Assistant County Commissioner Kennedy Okembo said at least 5 candidates are under interrogation over hate leaflets.
Na wanasiasa wale ambao wako na hawako hapa, ujumbe bado utawafikia ya kuwa serikali iko macho na iko macho zaidi.
Okembo said the county commissioner Sam Ojwang is set to hold a security meeting in the region to foster cohesion among residents ahead of the August 9th polls.
Priority yetu ni amani kwa wananchi. Kwa vile tumekaa hapa saa hizi, hapa hivi iko na kabila yote, sio? Tuko na Wakisii, tuko na Waluya, mko na Kalenjin, sio? Kabila yote. Na hamjasema.
The move comes few days after gubernatorial candidate for Azimio George Natembeya accused his main opponent Chris of divisive politics to divert attention of the people ahead of August polls.
Tutapiga kura yetu na tutachunga kura yetu. Yes. Kwa hivyo mtu asifikiri kwamba atakuja kuleta hiyo mchezo ambayo wamezoea kufanya wakati huu. Hapana, wako na watu ambao wanaelewa hii maneno. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuhakikisha jamii zote ambazo ziko hapa kwamba kwangu mmepata kiongozi ambaye atajali maslahi ya jamii zote katika kaunti yetu ya Trans Nzoia.
The development comes when political leaders in the area are calling for political sobriety and sale of agendas instead of whipping tribal emotions. Ruth Wamboy for Lunchtime News.
And a section of South Mugirango residents in Kisii County have decried unfair recruitment of clerks by IEBC in the county. The residents, who included university students, held demos at Nyamarambe where they accused the electoral agency of lack of transparency in the recruitment process. Elsewhere, the Kipsigis Council of Elders has opposed the categorization of Kericho County as one of the hotspot counties ahead of the general elections.
Business was partially disrupted at held demos, lamenting irregular recruitment of clerks by IEBC. The protesters, who included university students, claimed the area returning officer had displayed signs of being compromised by holding secret meetings with a particular election candidate over the recruitment.
Why was the interview done in phases, the last one being 1 week after the first one was done? What was this being reorganized when it was post? Number 4, why does the returning officer hold meetings with one particular candidate out of the designated official working places and at odd hours?
Responding to the complaint, constituency returning officer Nixon Nyamoya challenged the demonstrators to provide proof of official engagement with the officials. This as Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. called on IEBC's chair Wafula Chebukati to ensure they answer questions on credibility of the August 9 polls being raised daily to avoid voter apathy in some regions across the country.
IEBC is supposed to give Kenyans the confidence that they are in charge of the process.
the allegations made against Senator Wetangula or others, they should clear them. They should say so clearly as to whether there was any influence, etc., etc. The questions raised as to the question on the issue of the register must be sorted. Chebukati must tell Kenyans, give a press briefing every day, if possible, for the next 30 days.
Meanwhile, the Kipsigis Council of Elders has opposed the categorization of Kericho County as one of the hotspot counties. Led by Chairman Reverend Paul Lelioto, the elders say communities living in Kericho County are peaceful, hence no need to profile.
Na kitu ambacho tumehimiza ni wito, tumetoa wito kama wazee kwamba hii uchaguzi uwe na amani.
And the church in Embu County has come under fire from the section of Jubilee Party candidates for taking political sides in the run-up to the general elections.
I find it very unfortunate that the church, for example, in Embu, has decided, for example, to preach to the congregants, we are supporting this candidate A and not candidate B. What will happen if candidate B wins and their candidate A did not win? Are you going to tell your congregants that therefore God has cheated on them or that the will of God was not done? What are they going to do? They must remain neutral.
Gishoki Washira, Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, a section of conservationists now want Roots Party presidential candidate George Wajackoyah to desist from what they term as misleading Kenyans on wildlife products. The conservationists, who say profiling of hyenas and snakes as animals of high value to generate revenue for the country from his presidential manifesto, is not only misleading but posing a threat to their existence. They now want the remarks withdrawn, failure to which they will head to court.
Roots Party presidential candidate's manifesto has received mixed reactions across the nation. While the ideas are gaining popularity, especially among the young generation, a section of conservationists have opposed his proposals. They want Wajackoyah to withdraw the statement profiling hyenas and snakes as animals of high value to generate revenue for the country from his presidential manifesto, failure to which he will risk court injunctions.
I am only giving a professor 3 days. If he does not withdraw his statements, I will go to court as a conservation manager with certificate of agency to get court order to buy him from using part of hyena as is part of his presidential manifesto.
The conservationists say Professor Wajackoyah ought to have illustrated in his manifesto now his government will work with internal and external investors to improve conservation and tourism for the benefit of the country should he be elected into office.
Those reckless statements by Root presidential candidate Professor Wajackoyah has really given appetite to poachers, and they are now roaming all over looking for hyenas. And furthermore, he has also issued a press statement that black mamba, as the phenomenon of black mamba has value. And this has really endangered the lives of Kenyans because we know black mambas are highly poisonous snakes.
The move has also received support from a section of residents from Samburu who say hyenas are among wild animals that attract visitors in the region, including researchers and tourists who promote tourism generating income and employment opportunities for the local communities.
Kwa hivyo mtu mwenye anaweza tumia nembo ya fisi ama maneno mengine kuhusu fisi alafu anaitumia kwa vibaya kujaribu kumaliza tamaduni, huyo mtu fadhali tumkatae kama wakaaji wa Kenya na wenyeji wa
tuna condemn kama wachungaji na haswa wakaaji wa Samburu County kwa sababu fisi liko na maana sana. Hata fisi unaona wazungu wanatoka wilaya wanakuja sanctuary zetu kama zile za Archers Post, wanakuja zingine zote kwa sababu wanapokuja wanaleta fedha.
Time for us to take a quick break on Lunchtime News, but more news on the other side of this break, including business and sports. Do stay with us.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
If it was you, ungefanya nini?
Barmi angeshika ya mtu. I put him in a tree. Remove all the clothes. Have a alafu na gata yama pieces kadogo kama ile ya nyeri.
Omera, this is my phone. It is not yours. Of course it's yours, but it is tapping. Why are you people intruding into my personal life?
Hey, leta muda yangu. What is wrong with you? Let me go, you crazy. What are you crazy? Leta muda yangu.
No, come here. What's wrong with you?
Leta muda yangu. Come in, calm down.
Differently.
Once you already have like an LPU evidence that you're able to deliver, somehow you start getting into the system. So persistence in business is very important. Even if you're getting those small ones, as much as you're aiming for the higher ones, the small ones are a source of encouragement.
I can see the results in the students' eyes. I can see the joy that music brings to them, and that completes me.
We're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Lunchtime News. Now moving on, Nakuru County is now the second county after Kiambu with the highest number of municipalities. This is after the Governor Lee Kinyanjui issued a charter elevating Gilgil and Molo into municipalities. The new move will now see the two towns receive more financial support from the national government and donor agencies.
Speaking during the issuing of the charter for Gilgil, Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui noted that the new state has acquired by Gilgil and Molo will help in the issues of planning and development, adding that under the plan, Naivasha, Gilgil and Molo municipalities would in the coming financial year get 100 million shillings towards addressing the issues of housing, sewerage and drainage, among other services.
Mambo ya majitaka mahali itapelekwa, barabara zitatengenezwa namna gani, stadium kama hii iweze kupangiwa vizuri, hata tutaweza kuattract other activities, sports, the national events zitaanza kuja hapa Gilgil.
Governor Lee said that the next phase would involve zoning where public land, industrial parks and amenities will be identified, while also adding that government services like Huduma centers would be brought closer to the people.
Sasa tungetaka Gilgil iwe inajisimamia kwa njia zote. Na hivyo ni kumaanisha tutakuwa na a fully fledged social hall, tutahakikisha pia tuko na municipal planner, municipal surveyor, na mambo hiyo yote iweze kufanyika hapa. Na hata hivyo mmesema mambo ya Huduma Center and all the others, we are now going to bring it here. Okay? Ili wakaaji wa Gilgil isiwe kwamba wanabidi kwenda mahali nyingine ili waweze kupata huduma, na inaweza ikapatikana hapa kwenu.
Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari hailed that it would ease the burden of the constituency leadership as the challenges of poor drainage and sewerage would now be addressed by the national government.
Walikuwa wanatuita kijiji, sasa tutakuwa watu ambao wamekomaa
Kura itaweka pesa, World Bank itaweka pesa, na mahali wanaweka pesa, hapo ndo watoto wetu wanapata makazi, ndo wanabiashara wetu wanainuka, na ndo hata watu wa Gilgil wanaanza kujivunia kupata hii manispaa.
The elevation of Gilgil and Molo to municipalities now places Nakuru as the second county with the highest number of municipalities after Kiambu County. Trevor Ngendo, Lunchtime News.
And parents have been urged to keep minors out of political rallies as campaigns continue to gain momentum ahead of next month's general election. Machakos Sub-County Children's Officer Emily Kimanzi said it is wrong and very risky for children to go to political rallies, urging parents and teachers to ensure that children remain at home or in school for their safety.
Machakos County has been cited as one of the counties where minors have been spotted in political campaigns during this 1 week school's holiday.
The Children's Act imetosha, even the Constitution. Anybody below 18 years, kuna mambo hastahili kuhusishwa nayo. Sababu sasa unawachukua wakapige kelele ama unawachukua kwa sababu gani? Hawana votes. Yeah? Let children be children. Tafuta watu wazima wa kusaidia kelele zako na hayo mambo mengine wewe mwanasiasa ambaye unataka.
The area children's officer Emily Kimanzi was speaking during the 20th graduation ceremony at Jitegeme Children's Program in Machakos County, called on the political class to stop giving minors handouts.
Is wrong kwa sababu katika ofisi yangu nimepokea hizo complaints. Wanataka kila mtu apewe kitu katika hizo political campaigns. Mtoto hana kura, mzazi mtoto hana kura, and we will make sure kama wewe unapeleka mtoto wako campaign, tafadhali wazazi tusaidieni.
According to Kimanzi, several times children, especially those in high school, have been spotted running around in campaigns, some even holding posters for certain politicians. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
Moving on, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was shot dead during a campaign speech Friday in western Japan. Abe immediately collapsed and was seen bleeding as per eyewitness reports before being airlifted to hospital. The suspected attacker, reported to be a male in his 40s, was tackled in the scene and arrested.
Abe, who is 67, was Japan's longest-serving leader before stepping down in 2020, citing health reasons. He was said to be in a state of cardiopulmonary arrest, the term often used before a death is officially confirmed in Japan. The attack has come as a shock to many, as Japan is believed to be one of the world's safest nations due to the strict gun control laws. Current world leaders have condemned the assassination attempt. Current Japan Prime Minister has termed the incident as malicious and barbaric, while UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he is utterly appalled and saddened.
The day's business. Tea production in the country has recorded a year-on-year drop of 3.12 million kilograms owing to depressed and erratic rainfall and the effects of the La Nina weather conditions in tea growing areas. The Tea Board of Kenya says the adverse weather was more prevalent in the East Rift counties of Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri and Kirinyaga, where the first half of April, which is usually a peak month of the long rains, was characterized by dry weather, forecasting dreary outcomes even in the coming year.
Tea production recorded in April this year dropped to 41.1 million kilograms, a 3 million kilo drop from 44.3 million kilos recorded last year. This number falls even shorter than the records in March 2021 when Kenya had produced 46.3 million kilos of tea. The Tea Board of Kenya is now sounding the alarm over the drastic production drop, mostly attributed to the adverse effects of climate change. Tea production in the first 4 months was lower than that of the previous year by 8.28 million kilos, standing at 177 million kilos. In areas east of the Rift Valley, there was a drop of 4.06 million kilos in output from 14.54 million kilos. In the west of Rift Valley, the effect was largely felt in Nandi County, but the region still had a marginal increase of 0.93 million kilos. In the first 4 months of 2021, the country cumulatively recorded 185.3 million kilos. Parts of East Rift Valley recorded extremely dry conditions with precipitation of between 2 to 10 millimeters daily in the period. The total export volumes for the month of April this year were lower by 20%, from 49.4 million kilos last year to 39.6 million kilos this year. The decline in export volumes was majorly due to lower demand and the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war. Kenya tea was shipped to 45 export destinations compared to 46 last year. Local tea sales also dropped, with TBK reporting a 4-month cumulative decline from 11.3 million kilos to 10 million kilos. TBK says due to depressed rainfall recorded in March and April this year, the trend is likely to continue throughout the rest of the year. Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
Digital loans have gone up by 20% starting the 1st of July this year. The new rates follow the 20% excise tax on all microloans offered by digital lenders under the new Finance Act. A statement by the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya has said its members that are currently licensed under the new digital lending regulations and those that are yet to get an operating license will be required to remit the excise tax to the Kenya Revenue Authority on behalf of borrowers from the 1st of August 2022.
The lenders say small businesses dependent on short-term loans to transact will be the hardest hit, as the new tax will be loaded into the price transferred to the consumer as a cost. A report by digital lenders released early this year shows that 13% of Kenya's populations have taken digital loans from more than 120 digital lenders operating in the country. As of April 2021, the lenders were disbursing over 2 billion per month in loans. Treasury proposed to tax digital lenders in a bid to shore up revenue after developing regulations to govern the industry. A statement by the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya has said all its members currently licensed under the new digital lending regulations will be required to remit the excise tax to Kenya Revenue Authority on behalf of borrowers from the next month. The current Excise Duty Act defines other fees to include fees and commissions from licensed lenders, meaning any fees, charges or commissions charged by financial institutions relating to their licensed activities. This widens the bracket on cost, meaning the borrower will be charged more when the financial computation is done. The deduction will, however, not include interest on a loan or return on a loan, or any share of profit or any insurance premium or premium-based or related commission specified in the Insurance Act or regulations. Therefore, interest is excluded from the deductions. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
As demand for Kenya's coffee rises, farmers have been urged to venture into and increase production. This comes after Kipkelion Farmers Cooperative had a supply deficit, failing to meet demand from South Korea. The cooperative society, comprising of over 9,000 smallholder farmers in Kericho, Nandi and Bomet counties, has received assurance from the investors of good prices for coffee beans if they are valid.
South Korea is the 5th largest consumer of coffee, with 170,000 metric tons per year, previously buying its coffee from Colombia and Brazil. The country last year shifted its focus to Kenya as a supplier, striking up a deal with Kipkelion Cooperative Society that saw smallholder farmers directly engage in trade with the importers. This earned the cooperative 105.1 million shillings after dispatching the first batch in March this year. Kenya produces 40,000 metric tons of coffee annually, which falls short of the demand as buyers looking to Kenya are on the rise. Good Beans South Korea CEO William Kang says good quality coffee is on high demand and coffee farmers should increase production as the market is readily available.
That is the way where the farmers are going to get real benefits from farming. It is you as private farmers and them as private buyers.
And they start having conversation on the web. And that what led now to this historical sale of coffee to Nakuru.
County government stakeholders now say farmers have benefited immensely from the returns as they were previously frustrated by middlemen in the trade. Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
And Migori County government is looking to increase uptake of clean energy through policy formulation meant to regulate the use and access to various energy sources within the county. The county is working with the Kenya Climate Change Working Group to map the county's energy demands.
Commitment to the energy sector has seen 86.8% of the country's energy mix derived from renewable energy sources, with 45% coming from geothermal energy. These achievements have contributed towards Kenya's target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 30% in the race to help mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. In line with this, the county government of Migori has liaised to the Kenya Climate Change Working Group to ensure the county's energy demands are met. The initiative entails the launch of a toolkit that will engage the formulation of policies aimed at regulating use and access to energy sources. Industry players noted that the toolkit would ensure ease of access to affordable energy for rural communities whilst committing to avert the damage caused to the country's forest cover.
Toolkit as a decision-making toolkit that will enable the county to be able to come up with policies that are informed, because through this toolkit they'll be able to collect all the information within the energy usage in their county, but also how much resource they have as a county to be able to generate electricity closer to the users.
County is in the process of finding ways of ensuring we also first get a piece of the waste from Sony Sugar so that we are able to influence the community, so that they are able to think in terms of, they need to align their thoughts in terms of using briquettes instead of firewood.
The exercise will aid in mapping out areas with high green energy demand to supplement production.
What we need is to have mechanisms like in the county now to have baskets of money which can be able to give again people access to money to buy solar equipment, to buy solar lanterns, to buy solar pumps, to buy things around renewable energy.
Ndotamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Meanwhile, manifestos presented by different political parties fell under heavy scrutiny in the social media corridors. Cyber surfers have been breaking down the promises made by the presidential candidates, posing various questions on how and whether they will be executed. However, most say the manifestos will not hold.
A public declaration of policy and aim. But what is netizens' take on the various manifestos launched by presidential candidates? It looks like the eagerly awaited manifestos, also termed as game changers, did not meet the expectations of many. Keyboard warriors are questioning the credibility of the manifestos, wondering if they will be executed, or are they empty promises to get the promisers to the house on the hill? Rufus tweeted, "Who told these politicians we want free stuff? We just need working structures, proper security, working hospitals, affordable insurance, affordable loans, lower taxes on base products like petrol, and most crucial, a working judiciary. If the government was a profit-making entity, we would demand for free stuff. But we know we are in great debt, and most government spendings come from higher taxes and higher loans." Peter wrote, "On education, you could have just said no interest on HELB and other higher education loan, but saying free university education." Thinking emoji.
Wool up, nigga. Wool up, wool up, wool up. Just wool up.
Youth Nation asked, what advancements in renewable energy?
Coin Dealer tweeted, "I am yet to hear anyone talk of better government service delivery, such as smooth ID and passport acquisition."
Oh my God! Wow!
However, Professor George Wajakoya manifestos was the cherry on top of the cake, for it gave netizens juicy content to devour. Although the skeptics are wondering if his 10 commandments are enough to make him the chosen one. David asked, "Okay, experts, can he do that? Does he even have the power to do half of that list?" Jasper, despite having numerous degrees, no mention of education in his manifesto. Since there will be no schooling in his regime, just agriculture like Bangi. Defla tweeted, "Nishukishe hapo kwa suspend the constitution." Damn! Crystal, he really has high ambitions.
Say what?
Abdullahi tweeted, "Mmesahau ile afisi. Asenath, wacha tu nicheke." That was some of the keyboard warriors' take on the manifestos, who now hope to see what the incoming government will implement. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Moving on, the UK businesses have called for stability after Prime Minister Boris Johnson resigned as Conservative leader and the race to find a successor began. The Confederation of British Industry said the political vacuum needs to be filled at speed to protect people's living standards. Details of this and more in news from across the globe.
The Institute of Directors warned that what businesses hate most is uncertainty and instability. Johnson has said he intends to stay on as Prime Minister until a new Tory leader is chosen, but it is not yet clear when that will happen. Some members of Parliament and business leaders suggested he should go sooner rather than later to allow a new administration to try to tackle the sharpest rise in the cost of living for 40 years, which millions of UK households are struggling with. Business Secretary Kwasi Kateng tweeted that a new leader was needed as soon as practicable. The pound rose earlier on Thursday as news broke that Mr. Johnson will step down, though it ticked back $1.1964 in the hours afterwards. Investors have been concerned about recession around the world as energy prices continue to soar and about UK economic stagnation. Elsewhere, the boss of Boeing has warned that there is a risk the plane maker may be forced to axe out its 737 MAX 10 jet over potential regulatory issues. The company faces a deadline at the end of this year to secure approval for the jet from the US authorities. The MAX 10 is the latest and largest plane in the 737 family, which has been scrutinized after 2 fatal crashes. However, the company is committed to meeting regulators' requirements and those of their customers to satisfy and deliver the 737-10, as safety remains the driving factor in these efforts. Earlier this year, the FAA warned Boeing that it may not receive certification for the MAX 10 by the end of this year. Boeing has more than 600 MAX 10 jets on order from 18 customers, including British Airways owners and the United Airlines. The US requirements were introduced after the other model in the 737 MAX line were involved in a fatal crash in Indonesia and Ethiopia, in which 346 people were killed. The entire global fleet of 737 MAX aircraft was grounded after the Ethiopian airline crash in 2019. Finally, strike action by about 700 British Airways check-in staff at Heathrow has been suspended after unions said the airline has made a vastly improved pay offer. Last month, workers who are mostly check-in staff voted to go on a strike over pay, with unions saying the action was due to a 10% pay cut imposed during the peak of the pandemic not being reinstated. The airline had originally offered a 10% temporary bonus for staff instead of a reversal of the pay cuts. It is understood that the offer, which was rejected by the unions representing check-in staff, has been accepted by other parts of British Airways businesses, including by ground operations, engineering, and cabin crew workers.
We are switching gears to sports now, where the Spanish tennis Rafael Nadal has withdrawn from his Wimbledon semi-final against Nick Kyrgios with an abdominal injury. The 36-year-old Spanish second seed received treatment during his quarter-final against Taylor Fritz on Wednesday, but pushed through the pain to win in 5 sets. Kyrgios will play Novak Djokovic or Cameron Norrie in Sunday's final. Nadal confirmed he has a tear in his abdominal muscle, which means he would not be able to be competitive over 2 matches. The two-time Wimbledon champion had been on course for a calendar Grand Slam, having won the Australian and French Opens already this year.
Forehands and backhands, and attempted a couple of serves at very reduced speeds according to reports.
That's all the time we had here at KBC Channel 1 Lunchtime News. More news on our website at www.kbc.co.ke. I am Nissy Imano. Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter this afternoon. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Ulimi na mafikira kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Haki na sita tafadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza *811 *815 *811 *815
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Brother, talk of the devil, the Satan it disappear. You are not
Abana sina mati hiyo aluna.
No, na kwa
huyu asiki kizungu.
Ajui kizungu
Kwani wamesahau ile kitu alifanya?
So kielele ni nini mmeleta hapa kwa koti?
Kielele.
Please can you move what out?
Wewe anajifanya ofisa ya KRA, wewe anaita mimi kielele.
She's losing my temper now.
Yes.
She's losing my temper. Because you've seen, you know,